One thing that you must love about business, it does not discriminate. It doesn't matter what your background is, what accent you have, what language do you speak. The internet brings everybody together, and your mindset and work ethic 100% is the pure reason why you're going to have success or lack thereof. Today, we have a special guest who, just like yours truly, is an international citizen who has had the opportunity to live all around the world and had to reset the button a couple of times to pivot his career a couple of times. And today, he's going to be sharing with us not only his amazing story, but more of the journey that he's had and how it can impact you. This is your Strategic Partner Show. Let's go. Let's go.
I've been caught up since the day that we met, and you haven't seen the best of me yet. There's nothing like you and me together, and your eyes have been so hard to forget. But there's something you're trying to hide. There's something you're keeping inside. But I'm trying to get to know you much better. It don't matter how much time it takes. I just can't give up. Whoa, I just can't give up. Can't give up. I just can't give up. Oh, baby, I just can't give up.
Yes, indeed. Ali Madawi here, one of your strategic partner, and I have to bring the gang back. You know, we have had the last 5 weeks as we've spread out all across the country, traveling and building our own businesses and our own brands. And this is the very first show that we're back together in one place. And let me bring before you from North Carolina, heavyweight champ, the one and only Tokoyo Carlton. What's up, boss? How's your week going?
Oh, it's going amazing, sir. Super excited here. We had a little bit of rain today, but I tell you what, the last week and this week have been truly amazing. We're launching a business, as I've said in previous shows. And of course, man, it's going phenomenal. We're building teams all across the country. And it's a traditional business, so a little bit different than I know I'm in the home-based business arena. But again, man, we're loving it.
Love it, and cannot wait to hear a lot more about it. We want you to brag. And of course, from the state of Florida, from Vero Beach, the one that you love to love, the youngest of them all, the smartest and wisest of them all, the one and only Debbie Peltola Salmons. What's up, beautiful?
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad to be back, you guys. And oh, Ali, the check is on the way, my brother. I love these introductions, right?
Ooh, the check is on the way. I like it. I told you earlier when we had our call that, you know, I'm attracting a whole lot now. So, hey, keep it coming, universe. Keep it coming. I am so excited to hear. So before we bring our special guest, I know we've had a 5 weeks from Mother's Day where you took on an episode, then Memorial's Day where Tokoyo took on an episode, then you were traveling, and then Tokoyo took a week off, then I got stuck in the plane. So it was just a whole lot that was going on, but here we are back like we've never left. So if you were to take a minute and tell me the last 4 weeks have taught me or have brought on to me or have been like, what would you give me?
Are you going to me first?
Of course.
Ladies,
Ladies and youth go first. So go for it.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to tell you what, this is actually an easy question, because what has happened to me in the past 4 weeks is I have been working on, and I'm going to share that tonight when I do my little segment. It's on equilibrium, or we can call it EQ, or you can call it balance, or whatever name you want to get it. That is what I've been working on personally, and with my teams that are also international, is working on the pendulum swing. And I can't wait to talk some more about that.
Seriously, you're using some big words today. I'm really excited and cannot wait. Mr. Carlton, a.k.a. Carlito, a.k.a. I'm your big brother. Respect me. Hey, so how was the last 4 to 5 weeks for you? And if there's any highlight that you have received from the world, what is it?
Yeah, man, it's definitely been amazing. As far as from the world, we only receive what we're looking for. So the world's been good to us. And one of my mentors back in the day, he says the world is conspiring to do you well or do you good. Again, you just have to accept it, right? But again, it's just amazing. We just launched this business through a company called True Connect, and we're launching this business right here in North Carolina. And of course, you know, I'm kind of spearheading. I get to be kind of like little bro, big bro, Ali Madawi, and go out there and launch a brand new business from scratch. And of course, we've already kind of launched a few agents here in North Carolina. We've got a few out in Clean, Texas, Dallas, Texas. And again, we're looking to get other states included. But again, we're doing phenomenally well with it. It's growing fast. And of course, we started with, and here's the thing, guys. I got excited because the company didn't know who I was, right? And they were just like, okay, hey, we're gonna give you a little sample piece and see what he does with it, right? Like they gave me some tabs. Like, hey, here's some stuff, here's some inventory. You get rid of that, and then we'll talk again, that type of thing. And I was like, okay, cool. They sent me my inventory, and that's all I was waiting for. And of course, I kicked the door down, knocked those out in 3 days, called them back up. They sent me 200. You know what I'm saying? So, and then we're just looking to get to at least to 1,000 in inventory, and then of course grow from there. But again, they already know that, hey, listen, Takoya Carlton's on the scene. We're gonna make this thing happen and blow the doors down. So we're excited, Doc.
Man, we love it. And make sure you drop as much information in the comment, because obviously we want to support you and the family in any way that we can. So websites, social media, links, whatever you have, please make sure that you drop it for us right in the actual comment itself for everybody, to make sure that we are 100% connected. But I love it. I love it. I love it. Now with yours truly, I'll tell you what, man, I have been on creation mode. I've recreated myself. I've rebuilt my mindset, and I am in a very solid place. I am so grateful for all the good that is happening in my life and the people that are coming in my life. And I know it's a cliche thing that everybody is saying it because it sounds like a good thing to say because somebody watched The Secret last week, but I kid you not. I shared with you earlier that I've had people that I haven't talked to in 4 years email me, hey, there's money that you haven't been receiving, and I want your bank account randomly after 4 years. And I'm like, cool. I'm good with that. So it's been one of an amazing, incredible, powerful experience. And I really just cannot wait to share it with each and every one of you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for the one that you came to watch, this gentleman, in many cases, he's the kind of like, I don't take any nonsense. He talks like this all the time. He's very happy, very amazing, very much of a servant leader. I've gotten to have the opportunity to click with him and connect with him for the very first time last year in September of 2021 in a convention of a company that we were working in together. And the very first thing, just some background to the story, I offered a drink, and I don't know if he asked or I asked, but I was like, old fashioned? He was like, yeah, that's my drink. I'm like, with the cube? He was like, yes, that's my drink. So I don't know how the sequence happened, but that was the moment where, like, I've been waiting for you my whole life. But just like yours truly, he is a global citizen. He's been born in one part of the world and lived in different parts of the world. He has an incredible experience and background, not only in business development, family businesses, expansion all over the world. He was an athlete and converted and recreated and pivoted himself to maintain and take the same sports discipline to become who he is today. So, ladies and gentlemen, debuting on your strategic partner show for the very first time, and certainly not last, Mr. Alex Babiolakis.
Yeah, man.
What's up?
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
We
hear you loud and clear, man. We're so excited to have you in here with us, and thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. What's up?
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be with you guys, and thank you.
Just so you all know, he is not as nice with me when we're offline. Just for the record.
I don't believe it.
Like he's doing the I'm honored thing, but when offline, he sends me a lot of messages with food. All right, a lot of F words. That's food, right? Like he sends me a lot of food. So, but Alex, first and foremost, man, I know you're busy, and I know you were just on an international webinar that you just finished and jumped on with us, and we have more back to back, all of us really in our own lanes. If you can take a minute and just kind of give everybody a fast forward version of, how we began and how it's gotten here, and be ready because our audience loves to ask questions. So we're going to be drilling and asking. Go for it, brother.
Awesome. Well, story time. Yeah, it goes back far. It's kind of complicated. I'm originally Greek, and both my parents. Actually, let's go back even further. My great grandparents migrated to Africa I don't know, a long time before I existed, obviously. And yeah, they set up. They were farmers, and they did that. They moved from Greece. My great grandfather was one of 16 and moved out to Mozambique. They didn't watch TV back then, obviously. Um, and yeah, they were my grandfather and my dad were born in Mozambique. My mom is from Cyprus. My mom was actually born in Zimbabwe. My grandfather and my grandmother moved from Cyprus to Zimbabwe. And then my parents met, and my dad, my grandfather and his brothers opened up a huge fruit and vegetable company when there was some like political unrest in Mozambique. So they crossed the border to Rhodesia back then, now Zimbabwe, and they had a successful business in the fruit and vegetable company. My dad went a different route, went to the army, um, actually the Air Force, sorry, and then yeah, he went into the restaurant business and has had multiple restaurants in Africa. We moved to Cyprus. I was born, and then actually that was a failed restaurant, and then we moved back to Africa, to Zimbabwe, and my dad opened a Greek restaurant and then opened an Italian restaurant. They were super successful. But then in around like 2001, um, that was kind of in the midst of like political unrest within that southern region of Africa, where a lot of farmers were getting killed, and there was a lot of just bad things happening. And one day, some guys broke into my dad's restaurant, and yeah, it was not a great experience, especially when you have 3 young kids at home and a wife at home, and you have 2 security guards patrolling the house 24 hours a day with dogs that are trained to go for your neck. It's not really too healthy. So my parents decided to go to the ultra extreme and find a place where there's zero crime and no drugs on the streets or anything wild. And they moved us to the Middle East, to Bahrain. And it took a long time, for my parents to get up and running. And I think that through that period of time, it was like, you don't understand as a young kid of what's going on. I moved when I was 8 years old. My younger brother was 3. My older brother was 12. And again, you don't understand why certain things happen. You just kind of go with the flow. And then you also don't understand what struggling is. As a kid, you want things, and somehow your parents end up finding ways to give them to you, but you don't know that, I'm going to skip a meal just to make sure you kids are good. And like, you don't notice anything. And then again, I could probably say it took us about 4.5 years to really get up and running and really, start generating some good income within the family. Everywhere my dad went to try and open a restaurant, empty promises. I'm sure a lot of people kind of get in that situation where like there's the empty promise in the business world, and all that stuff happens. And then my dad said, okay, well, I'm going to go find a job. And then he went into, into the restaurants and try to find a job. And every interview he went to, they said, I can't hire you because you're more qualified than me, and you're going to replace me. So it was one of those situations. And then this is where I learned this. He was like, he found a restaurant that was failing, and he said, I will consult for you for free. I'll work for you for free. And when he started to do that, so the guy was like, okay, this guy's crazy. He's gonna come and work for me for free. He's gonna help and do whatever he's doing. And then eventually the guy was like, this is such a burden to my life. Take it. And 22 years later, it's the most successful steakhouse in the whole country. That same restaurant that he took. And from that, put us through private school, put us through college. All 3 of us went to college. Fortunately, I could kick a ball and got a little break on my college fee. But, it set us up, and now we have a successful hospitality business that's continuing to scale, opening multiple projects. We have another project opening in September. And right now we're looking at a couple other places in different parts of the Middle East. So expanding all over the place, healthily expanding. I think a lot of companies expand too quick, but yeah, it's been a roller coaster. We were, fortunate enough to give my parents that cushion now to where they're happy to kind of bounce around. And I think through those experiences, especially now, soon to be a parent, you try and learn, you try and understand all those things and why. And I would do the exact same thing. How can I make sure that my children don't know, and you put everything on the line. So that's kind of where it ended up. I graduated high school. I actually failed one of my years before I graduated. I was that class clown that just a nemesis. I was just a devil child. And then I learned the hard way of your friends are going to graduate, but you're not. So I think that was like the pivotal moment in my life where I kind of said, okay, well, guess I got to get a little bit serious. And then I came to college and I came to the US here. Played at a very high level in sport. Halfway through my degree, I kind of left my degree and signed a contract in Europe and moved out there for a bit. And then I had a couple of injuries and came back here. And that's when I kind of started taking the business world and work world seriously. And then I met my now wife, and yeah, it ended up being great. I did the same thing with what my dad did, and so hard to get your foot in the door. So I remember my first real gig here, where I started doing consulting for restaurants and doing little things to helping businesses. I met a guy that was actually hired my wife. She was doing delivery dudes, and I hated that. And she got bitten by a dog, and I was like, "You need to stop doing this." And then through that, this guy, he was like, "Hey, you're like, have you ever bartended? Have you ever done anything like this?" And she was like, "Yeah, I've experience through college," and hired her. And one day he was like, "I need a dishwasher. I know your husband's in the restaurant industry. Does he know anyone that's a dishwasher?" And I just walked up and said, "I'll do your dishes for free." And I did his dishes, and they were the cleanest dishes in the world. And from there, I just ended up evolving into,
Man, I got so many questions.
I know.
We're gonna be fighting over you.
To work with, man.
We're gonna be fighting over you. Yeah. So I mean, first and foremost, like, talk about adversity, resilience, and I mean, I thought we were talking about Alex pivoting because of his short-term experience that he had over the last couple of years. We're going back to my man's been in more African territory than I have, and I was born and raised there, and I mean, could you imagine? I mean, I'm a father now. You're about to be a father soon, Alex, which, by the way, congratulations to you. And Jen, so if any time Alex just gets up and runs away, his beautiful bride. She was due Saturday, so y'all gotta need to send a whole lot of love for Alex on that chat. So I do have, and I'm gonna steal the show. I do have a question about, you talked about, the adversity and the security and the environment itself, how challenging. Do you think that had any impact on you today as a man? Because I know my past had a lot of impact on how it molded me. You have a certain, when it's business mode, it's like emotional intelligence, low tone, and, knives in the back pocket at any time they can come out, right? Can you give us some context on how is your upcoming relevant to who you are today, or has it not?
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things is, again, this might sound like super depressing for a second, but like, I never had like parents that took me to soccer practice or anything like that. Like when you're in the restaurant business, it's 24 hours, 7 days a week, and you don't get any rest. But one thing my dad taught me was never be shy to work. Doesn't matter how dirty the job is. And I think through that, and seeing both my parents work in the industry in blood, sweat, and tears, I learned through that it's okay to work. It's okay to do whatever you need to do to provide. And at the time, I never used to understand. I'm like, why do my friends, their parents have these cushion jobs that they can go on holiday all the time, and I don't even get to spend time with my family, like on holidays. And hey, we can go on a holiday with the kids, but like one of my parents has to come, one of them has to stay. But you grow up to accept it. You grow up to say, okay, well, it's okay to work. It's okay to work long hours, but I understood why after, a period of time. So like as time evolves and I'm sitting there like now where it's go, 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 I can also use that and learn from that to understand, okay, well, how can I create good structure to where maybe it's okay to work all those hours, but then it's also okay if you can create enough structure and good leadership where I can step away. Mm-hmm. So using both aspects to first appreciate that it's okay to work hard and be out there and do long hours and whatever it is, but then it's, create structure off of that to where you can say, okay, well, I've built something where I've taught other people and put other people in a privileged position through their hard work, though not given. It's they earned it to where now I can step away and give them, and support them too.
Good stuff.
Hopefully,
So
I yield my time, Carlito. That's all you, because otherwise I want to go hard, but go on. It's all yours.
Okay, good stuff. So I'm gonna kind of ask you from this, because I know in a lot of immigrant families, a lot of the kids who grow up in an immigrant family and they have a family business, like even here in North Carolina, I go to several restaurants and I see kids who are at the restaurant. They're on tablets, they're doing their homework, they're working with the restaurant, they're being cash registers, they're being waitresses, and they're still teenagers. And so growing up like that, and of course you kind of alluded to it a little bit, as far as your friends and things of that nature, like how much was the pressure of really joining the family business, because it's all you knew, all your family has done for years. They took it from one country to another country, very successful at a high level. So how was the pressure for you not to go to college, first of all, or go to college and then come back and help to build the company bigger?
Zero pressure.
Wow.
I can say this one thing about my parents that I'm super, super grateful for. They're the most supporting parents in the world. They allowed us freedom to experience life, if that makes sense. They allowed us to do whatever we desired and never, ever sheltered us to say, like, you can't do that. You can't experience that. It's okay to go out there and try and fail and fall on your face. We will still support you, and you always have a home to come back to. And I think maybe it's like an immigrant family thing. Maybe Ali, you can speak from your perspective is a little bit different. But I think a lot of people, I see a lot of parents are like, once my kid's 18, they're out and go do your thing. But what my parents allowed us to do was really like kind of express yourselves. And I think through that freedom, it brought us back together. Mm-hmm. And, my dad's and both my mom and dad's dream were always, I wish my boys could work together and take over this. But growing up, it was never in the plans. Like I was like, over my dead body, you're going to see me in this restaurant business. My younger brother was like, My older brother was in a corporate job at a very, very high level. He was one level away from being a C-level executive in the biggest import company of alcohol and a premium supermarket in the Middle East. So he was there. He was, he climbed that ladder in 4.5 years, not even long. But then I think because of the no pressure and allowing yourself to be free and do your thing, it brought us back together to say, well, you know what? Like I've seen the world out there, and I've seen what's out there, and the grass isn't always greener on the other side.
That's right.
And I think that if we came together, when you work in, I'm sure you guys all know, when you work in an environment, like people are out to get you. But when you really have a good bond with your family, and I think it's also tough to do business with family because you can't be open, you can't be honest, and you can't say it how it is. But because of that freedom and allowing to try different experiences and that relationship that we had with all of us, it was kind of natural and it didn't push us away, rather brought us back together.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Good stuff.
All right, Debbie Salmons, all yours.
Well, first of all, Alex, it's so great having you here and learning more about your story. We have a lot in common, actually. I'm a farmer. I'm a farmer's daughter. Same thing. And, what I'm hearing you say is a lot of what I feel, which is, as kids, we don't recognize the struggle necessarily, right? It's in hindsight that we recognize the struggle, and then we can take that on. But there's certain values that I think are instilled almost naturally when you come from a family of entrepreneurs that are trying whatever it is, because it was the same way. Now, I used to, after school, come home from school with my notebook and have to go sit on the edge of the farm where my dad was doing things. And I'd have to half over like, a 50-pound bag of fertilizer or stuff like that. And I remember one of my first ventures was a cleaning business. And like you said, it was cleanest dishes. Let me tell you, I had some of the cleanest toilets ever, right? Because what did my parents tell me? It doesn't matter what the job is you're doing, do it the best that you possibly can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So sometimes for me, it was digging a ditch or weeding bogs, not something I wanted to do, right? So do you feel that? And so with all of that experience, and now that you're going to be a soon-to-be dad, right? I know that when I had my sons, and they're grown now, I took all of this information, right, that I had gathered from my own experiences, gathered from my parents, and gathered where I want, and started really consciously thinking about what's the example and the message I'm going to set for my children, right? So talk about that a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think the adjustment is going to be a little bit different. I come from all boys, and like my dad is my dad is like super serious when it comes to work. Like he will throw knives, he'll go crazy. Like let's go, let's make it happen, let's work.
The traditional Habibi.
Exactly. The outside is like the biggest goofball kid in the world, where he'll play pranks on everyone, and he's just like a class clown too. That's probably where I got it from. So I think, coming from all boys is an adjustment, because I'm having a girl. But one thing that I think I don't know what it's going to be like is,
if I may, Alex, I have to correct you. You are not having a girl. Your spouse is having a girl.
No, I'm carrying.
I'm just for the record.
At least been down this road recently.
Yes, she takes the credit.
My wife is carrying our little baby girl.
Yes,
we are having
just so you know, like just take your wallet and just empty it like this every single day. Just give her the card on the baby crib. Just put the credit cards under.
Yeah,
it's over.
So I think she's gonna teach me a lot of like things that I've never experienced, like patience. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm super. Yeah. People say you're so patient, but like I am, but I'm not. Like I there's little things that just kind of tick me off, and I think that's just one of those things. But I think through experience, again, I'm like that. I'm super intent with things that I do, and I hope those principles I teach her too, of like, if you're going to do anything, do it right. And if you're not going to do it, just don't do it. Don't half-ass anything. I'm the same way in the house. Like, I wouldn't say OCD. I think it's just like little standards that I try and keep. Like picture frames, I love them to be straight. They bother me if they're not. When I clean, like I don't want to see streaks anywhere. Like I'm
no trolls, please. No trolls. So some people call it OCD. He calls it, just put that thing where you found it, please.
And I'm with Alex. Just do
yes.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. And but yeah, I think I got my crazy wiener dogs screaming and barking. So if you hear them, but yeah, it's I hope to teach her, those principles and provide a environment where she can express herself too. I think that's super, super important, and not putting like a shelter with any pressure or anything like that. Right. I say stuff now, maybe I'll change or whatever, but I would like to think that I'm going to be the parent that is super open to, letting people express themselves, but within structure, because I also think without structure,
absolutely.
And some people that have been in the military or sporting environments or, entrepreneurship, there's no like playbook, or like there's no office hours. Like you have to create structure and a framework to work within to be disciplined. And I would love to do that within that structure and environment, but also giving them the freedom to express and learn. So yeah, that's ideal situation, but I don't know. I forgot the question.
Oh, well, thank you for that. No, and you know what? Because my children are grown, I can actually say that that is the best way to be. Structure with freedom, because they crave structure. We all crave structure, even if we deny it. But we need freedom as well. So you're on the right path there, soon to be dad.
Yeah. And absolutely. And I think when you do that, it allows them to be able to come to you. Cause like I have two grown girls. I have one 19, one 18. Right. And I got little ones too. But my 18, 19-year-old, because of the relationship I built over the years with them, where I let them have the freedom to do what they need to do or what they want to do, but also be able to understand the right thing to do. Like you said, the structure. Now at these ages of 19 and 18, I'm still where most parents lose their kids, right? And because they're grown or I think I'm grown type thing, I'm still able to have that conversation with them, have real conversations with them. And then of course they feel comfortable enough to tell me, I mean, everything. I mean, I sometimes like,
yeah, I know. Please don't tell me.
You know, from my son, I might be like, hey, okay. My daughters, I'll be like,
yeah,
okay. You know, so you have to be prepared for that and understand that, you know, they are their own people and allow them to grow, but also teach them the right things so that when they go off, that they still are able. You already know you've done what your parents have, you know, got you to do as you were growing up, and you turn out to be great. So we all have the blueprint. Our parents did it with us, right? Or if our parents didn't do it, we knew other kids who had the parents like, I wish my parents were more like that. So we know that stuff. But again, always have the open door, and that goes to you, Ali, too, as well.
100%.
Can come talk to you.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. Well, here, I got a whole line of questions that are going to be hitting you out of nowhere. But before we do, we got to pay some bills. So if you are a struggling entrepreneur and you are looking to start, grow, scale a business, make sure you visit us in iam.media. For an average of $1.50 a day, you can get a complete academy, a weekly coaching, and these strategic partners to be available to you all day, every day. So you can start focusing on what matters, and that is results. So visit us on iam.media. You guys been to iam.media lately? I think it's a good place to be. All right, so Mr. Babiolakis, let's take things a little bit to the modern side of things, right? When it comes to business, you always are all about structure. Can you first share with us your pet peeves when it comes to business development, right? And then we can dissect a little bit on how do we overcome those things? How do you operate? Because here's the thing, in the line of your business and my business, we're dealing with a lot of people. And when you have a lot of people, a lot of personalities, a lot of mindsets, a lot of egos, a lot of fear, whatever it may be. And we work hard to maneuver all of that and kind of take people's negativity issues and we pour our positivity onto them, but still maintain sanity within our own selves, right? So come on, talk to me about your pet peeves and kind of like, what is your process to overcome, you know, a character building day, if you will?
I think the most important thing, I think, in anything that we do is respect. And one thing about respect is people demand it all the time. And I think in order for you to demand it, it's not something that you can demand. Regardless of age, you know, younger than me, older than me, they always get my respect, and I give them the chance to burn their respect, if that makes sense. And through that, and not being a judgmental person or anything like that, and through that respect, it gives them that opportunity to express themselves. And then eventually they start to respect you back and being open and honest and be truthful. It's a weird one. You know, I don't know. There's, again, like I said, I have patience, but like behind closed doors, I sometimes want to pull my hair out, because the challenge is always understanding different people and understanding different personalities, and how to extract the best out of them by talking to them. But in order to understand that, they have to trust you and they have to gain that respect for you. So again, my pet peeve in business is probably manners. When people don't have manners, when people don't, you know, are not being nice, it's going to happen. So I think that's one of my biggest pet peeves. Over promising and under delivering is a big thing. Like putting salt and pepper on things. And I think a lot of people do that to, I think, especially in the modern day, now with like the social media stuff, is show more than you are and show more than you have so you can entice more to gain. And I think
Right.
what ends up happening over like a long period of time is the unsustainability of that is very high. And what you end up finding is a lot of people that are getting into the entrepreneurship space, they jump to the next thing because of that method of I don't know, whether it's marketing, whether it's personality, of
Bait and
showing
hook.
and living beyond their means, or just doing reckless things to entice. And then I think that's what happens is this next wave of, you see business owners or entrepreneurs, they're doing something new every 6 months, every 12 months, every 3 months. Because of that cycle, it's like a rabbit hole. So I think my biggest pet peeve is people are so short-sighted as well. When they lack respect, they're short-sighted. They're just trying to make sales, do something today, and they don't try and build that relationship. It's just all about money. They just look at you as dollars and look at you as how do I get something out of you. So I think I built like a good tolerance for that, and maybe from upbringing and just seeing things and experiences and life experiences and travel, you kind of weed people out based on that feeling. But yeah, that's one of my biggest things is lack of respect and the need to make something happen. Yes, like yesterday, like let's do it. Like there's a process.
Yeah, Alex, man, I really got to commend you, man. Like, I really have a lot of respect for you just based on what you just said. Because unlike you, I went into the other room and I actually pulled my hair out. So I didn't have the restraint you had.
Yeah,
Maybe it's going back. I don't know. Maybe the Greek genes are strong right now.
it's a strong EQ, and it's a journey to get there with that as well. It really truly is.
Super soul searching as well, and I think you learn about yourself, or how to deal with people in conflict or types of personalities, types of situations. Like one thing I've learned over a period of time, I used to be like a head case. Like I would lose my temper in a second. I would get frustrated. I'd be impulsive. I'd be emotional. Actually, my first ever business deal on my own, I lost all the money, and most of it wasn't mine. So like that's the impulsive side of you. That's just hungry, trying to make money. And I think a lot of people will kind of learn that over a period of time, especially the young people. I'm glad I learned it young, because now I know what to look for. And now I'm not in a rush to do anything. But yeah, I think
I agree with you on that, man, because I remember being young and have a lot of success young. And you get a little kind of arrogant a little bit. And of course, we see a lot of that nowadays. But again, just to a point to where you're just like you said, you want it right now. You want to get it done. You can't understand why everybody else can't get it, or it's so simple and to you. But again, we never think about how someone else is, getting that or receiving that. And I can't tell you how many people I, repelled as I was coming up in the network marketing industry, because I was so gung ho. I, had the old military, Rangers, special forces, that type of thing, attitude. Like, let's just get it done. Like, I don't care. Like, what I'm saying? Like, I would listen to people's things, and, because everybody's got a story, and I would be like, I hear that. Like, I'm listening to them, but I'm already thinking like, okay, let's do this. As opposed to being, someone who says, oh, yeah, I understand that. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to kind of have that fine line, because you'd never had that scenario. I'd never been in that situation to where you can have someone right there with you. And of course, they're going through some serious stuff in their mind and their head and through their family. And you've got to be able to relate to it, and, all that stuff. And it's just hard. And it was a long lesson for me, in the beginning, like when I was in my 20s, to really deal with people, especially because as a young person in this industry, a lot of the folks are older than you. So they're 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s. And you like Ali has become a little brother / big bro, right?
Yep.
But that's what happens. And so you got grown people looking at you, and you're 20 some years old for the answer, So yeah, I get it, man. I understand it's totally crazy, but yeah, I'm glad you made it out, and again, grew from those situations.
Yeah.
The self-realization of money is only money, and people bury themselves in money.
I'll put it like this for you, Alex. I don't know where I heard it, but it was some people are so broke because all they have is money. Like, and because a lot of time we connect wealth to money, to physical paper money, right? But wealth is an inner gift. Wealth is so much more than just that currency, if you will. Like, a lot of people are wealthy in health, a lot of people are wealthy in wisdom, a lot of people are wealthy in family and love. So I commend you for seeing it that way. Me and you have had, and I know all four of us really have had these conversations. There's a huge difference between the network marketer and an entrepreneur, and that not because you are a network marketer you automatically qualify as an entrepreneur, because an entrepreneur has a checklist that he or she has to go through in order to earn that title, right? Versus a network marketer, oh, okay, I'm selling some things, some products, and recruiting some people. That qualifies me as an entrepreneur, right? How do you define both? And do you think the reason, because the word entrepreneur has become so mainstream, it kind of got diluted in the everyday, online gigs?
Yeah, I think like starting a business, you lose more than you win. And I think that understanding of that is like it doesn't like register in a lot of people's mind. It doesn't register that it's okay, you got to fail before you succeed. But like, people say it, and I think a lot of like network marketing, actually, majority, we're in the very, very high percentages, is built on regurgitated information that is said and never experienced. And then through that, it creates terrible, terrible habits. And then, just because you're successful in one, say, niche, doesn't mean you're going to be successful in every niche that you touch, just because there's financial backing behind it. And I think that's the biggest difference that I see, and especially in network marketing. I think people are just so focused on. There's very few, and I've built relationships with them that are really there for their organizations, and are really there for the right reasons, that are there to build their organizations and provide a structure to where people can come in and become better people. I think that's the biggest thing. Again, I think network marketing is a great start for people to get into entrepreneurship, to learn principles and create structure for themselves. But that road of being a business owner in the traditional world, it's tough, and it's not easy, and it takes courage, it takes faith, it takes more doubt building a marketing business.
One to your point, if I may add, you mentioned that you lose more than you win. What I love about that is that it is true that you lose more times than you win. But
when
man,
you
that
win,
one time you win,
win.
Man, it compensates 10 times more for all of those losses. And that's where we all say it was worth it. It really, really was worth it. And, I commend you for that. Hey, we're going to go and switch things up a little bit. We're going to go to our super wisdom queen herself, Debbie Simons, with her segment today. And she kind of hinted to it earlier on what she's going to be sharing with us and blessing us with a whole lot of wisdom. So you are in for a treat. And if this is your very first time listening to her, do yourself a solid. Pay attention, take some notes, and understand she is your strategic partner. So make sure, if you are hearing her for the very first time, connect with her, follow her. And here she goes, our beloved Debbie Simons. Take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. And Alex, I mean, everything you guys were talking about really, really leads into this, right? You guys, I don't know if you've ever heard any of these quotes, but there was a quote, because remember, I'm the older one on this group. But coming up in the 1980s, it was the time of yuppies and climbing the corporate ladder. And there was a quote in a movie that was called, I'm trying to think, the name of the movie was Postcards from the Edge. And there's a quote in the movie that says, instant gratification, that's not fast enough. Well, let me just tell you that that's where my mindset was at in the 80s. And so I had to learn a lot of things. And guess what? Like Alex was talking about, I had to lose big in a traditional business. And that was sorry about my dogs. That was a traditional business, a brick and mortar clothing store that I worked alone for 5 years. And, you know, back in the 80s, it was $150,000 gonzo, right? So, well, some people that would kind of toss you out, right? But here's what I want you to remember. There is a quote, and it talks about experience is the best teacher, and the worst experiences teach the best lessons, right? Now, like Alex was saying, we hear lots of things like that. And we go, yeah, that sounds great. And we can regurgitate it, and it sounds good until we actually live it, experience it, and feel it, right? So that's what I want to talk to you about is EQ. For those of you that don't know what EQ is, it's also known as emotional quotient, emotional intelligence, right? And they've done tons of studies, and they've found that that is far more important than your IQ. It is your EQ. So what is it? In case you don't really understand it. What it is it's basically the ability for each of us to understand and manage our own emotions in positive ways, right? In positive ways to overcome stress, to be able to empathize with other people, overcome challenges, right? And you really want to strive to have a high EQ. Because what does it mean if you have a high EQ? It basically means that you know your own strengths and you lean into them and you use them to your full advantage while keeping your weaknesses from holding you back, right? But I like to take it even a step further when you think of EQ. I like to think of a pendulum. Most of you can picture a pendulum, right? You've got to start a pendulum in motion and it will sway to the left, sway to the right, right? Not that I'm going to give you a physics lesson because I'm not a physics expert, but the center part of a pendulum is also called equilibrium, or it's actually known as starting point zero, right? Because it's basically when there's no motion going on. So one of the things that we need to do with our EQ is to try to prevent the swaying of the pendulum to large degrees, right? Because many of you have probably heard where you focus, that's where your energy flows, right? So if the pendulum is swinging and, things are kind of going off kilter and you focus your energy, it swings it further. And the further apart those emotional swings go. So we're human beings. So for us to literally stay static in that equilibrium or zero spot is next to impossible. But here's the great news. You can learn to not allow the pendulum to swing so dramatically, right? Where you are just allowing and controlling the swing of that pendulum, right? I read a book years ago and it talks about being steadfast and immovable and letting the whirling dervishes swirl around you, right? Let the hurricanes of life swirl around you and have it be your goal. It's my goal to be steadfast and immovable and keep that pendulum from the wide swings. That is what I truly believe that successful people do. And we're not talking about success by monetary value, okay? My dad did very, very well. He was born with that ability to keep that pendulum very soft swinging. So continue to focus on that. Continue to do the personal growth, get the quiet time that you need, the introspection that you need. When you start to notice that your pendulum is swinging too far, stop, take a break. Don't give it energy, because what you give that energy to will increase. So I hope that this is a little thought-provoking for you guys and that you will work on your EQ. back to you, my partner.
Hey, real
You
quick, while
have
you
rocked
go,
it. Yeah. Go for it.
Amazing.
you know you did good when you clap for yourself.
I didn't
Hey,
even realize it did it.
if you're not willing to clap for yourself first, ain't nobody gonna clap for you.
That's
So kudos to you, Debbie Salmons, and stick with us in a little bit because we're gonna have Mr. Carlton close us out in a little bit with a motivational moment. But before we do, Alex, so the word in the streets that there is a supercar that's about to be given away, and I think I pulled it out just because I wanted to make sure that you were equipped. So the last event that I had the privilege to MC for Driven, a supercar was a McLaren, very first ever NFT wrapped supercar. Was given away, and Antoine Sims, actually our friend Antoine Sims that we've known for a while, has taken that car home. It is with him right now. I would love for you if you can like kind of put some shine on this baby right here, if you don't mind. Talk to us.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of back off what Debbie said was people react and are better off through experiences, and when they feel it and they go through that, it gives them that opportunity to grow and become more. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we tried to do last time was do something that no one's done, first of all. Second of all, provide an experience to someone that is so unforgettable that it gives them the framework to accelerate as a person. And through that successful kind of giveaway, we thought, okay, well, let's do something else. But rather than do it as an NFT, let's do it off of people's work. Let's allow people to earn something, because I think in life you just give stuff away, they don't appreciate it. But if you put it within the framework of earning and buying in through sweat equity, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing this is providing, giving away another car. Where
not just another car. The first one was a McLaren, a $300,000 car, and the G-Wagon.
This one is more luxury. It's a G-Wagon, but here's the cool thing about G-Wagons, and maybe some people don't know this, and this is a little business hack. A lot of business owners have G-Wagons or cars in that caliber, not for the car, because it's over
full write-off, baby.
Because it's over 6,000 pounds, it's 100% tax write-off to a business.
Yep.
So someone that, first of all, is going to be able to put themselves in the hat to earn that through their hard work, also has the ability to completely write that thing off for $200,000 in their business. So it's super cool. Again, nice little hack that people don't know, or some people know, but people don't understand. But yeah, we're doing something cool like that again in Minnesota in July. So we're giving people a nice little window to where they can earn themselves into that, where again, it's a privilege to be in a pool of people that are working hard, and why not give back? I think that's the biggest thing. And then share those experiences with people, because once they touch it, feel it, and have that experience, they can grow and do more. And hopefully they can give back one day too.
100%. And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the I Am exclusive coaching session with yours truly. It is Hot Seat tonight. And of course, your open Q&A sessions. You already know I'm going to be bringing the heat for you at 8 p.m. The link for our members is already in your email. And if you're not part of our community, go to iam.media. It is an average of $1.50 a day. And I think you're worth a cup of coffee a day to scale your business to the level you would want it to be. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the man you've been waiting for all the way from North Carolina, Mr. Takoya Carlton, with a motivational moment. Take it away, boss.
Good stuff. So listen, guys, as he said, my name is Takoya Carlton, right? North Carolina. But again, this is your motivational moment. I'm gonna be real brief because I know these guys have meetings exactly at 7. So here's the thing, guys. 7 things to remember when you think you're not good enough. The first thing is the people you compare yourself to are comparing themselves to other people. So again, the very people that you think are at the top, at the pivotal, or pinnacle of their company, their positions, their titles, they're also holding themselves and comparing themselves to someone else. Also, number 2, your mind can be a very convincing liar. So again, never believe your own hype, guys. And so again, the whole thing is, guys, you've got to understand that again, your mind tells, plays tricks on you, right? It tells lies to you. You've got to be able to discern and that some things are right and some things are wrong, and of course, move to the right direction. The third thing is there is more right with you than wrong with you. So again, guys, understand 7 things to remember when you think you're not good enough. Number 3, there is more right with you than is wrong with you. Understand that. Never let someone make you feel little, right? Never let someone tell you that you're not good enough, because everything about you is good enough. And then the other thing is, number 4, you need to love the most when you feel you deserve it the least. So again, you need to love the most when you feel that you deserve it the least. And so again, how many people have been in that situation where again, you think that you're not worthy, right? You've been in situations where, people, saw you or you just been having a bad time, right? Life just hasn't been good at you. Every curveball that can be thrown has been thrown at you, guys. Understand, still love yourself. You are good. You are right? There's more right than wrong with you. Number 5, you have the full, you have to fully accept and make peace with the now before you can reach and feel the satisfaction of the later. Let me say it again. You have to fully accept and make peace with the now before you can reach and feel the be satisfied with the later, right? You must do the now. You must be happy with the now. You must be in the present, right? Number 6, focus on progress rather than perfection, and on how far you've come rather than on how far you have left to go. Y'all getting this? So again, what I'm saying is simply this, guys. You may be looking at the road, right? There's folks like, let's say our guest here, right? Alex is already at the pivotal positions in his particular company, right? There's people right now who are saying that if I could only, or if I can do, or if I was more like, right? Like Alex, right? But again, never understanding that someone right behind them is saying, listen, I can't wait to get to where she is. I can't wait to get to where he is. So again, everyone has steps, right? And there's always someone behind you. Be the person that stays in your lane. Be the person that just goes out and does what's necessary and obtains success within your own ability, right? But again, surround yourself with people who are going to encourage you, who are going to motivate you, who are going to ask you, hold your hand and take you along with them. And then, of course, number 7, you can't hate your way into loving yourself. You can't hate your way into loving yourself. It's important, guys. Ali said it earlier, right? You have to be able to clap for yourself, right? So you got to get excited about where you are, right? Where you're going, and understand that there's going to be some trials. There's going to be some tribulations. But here's one thing one of my mentors always told me. He said, you're either going in a storm, you're going through a storm, but at some point, you got to come out the storm. So with that, it's been a plum pleasing pleasure. I look forward to seeing you guys at the top, from the top, or over the top. This has been your motivational moment.
Woo-wee! Talk about closing it with some heat. Ladies and gentlemen, Takoya Carlton, Debbie Simons, always bringing value. Mr. Babiolakis, you got literally 10 seconds because the producer is saying in my ear, come on, you got another Zoom. 10 seconds, final remarks, and shut us down.
No, just thank you guys for having me. And I truly appreciate you and all that you guys do all the time to serve and help people and provide value and to provide a space where people come on here, be comfortable and share experiences. So super grateful. And thank you. And I always have the privilege and honor of working with you guys and speaking to you. But I hope everyone enjoyed it. And I look forward to being back on if I get an invite again.
He's so handsome. All right, y'all. Show him some virtual love. Hey, for everybody else, we love you and appreciate you. And until the next time, tell them peace out, everybody.